Hey guys, this is Gene Jensen, and I want to talk about flipping and pitching to heavy cover, specifically bushes like buckbrush, which are small bushes like this right here. Well, these aren't buckbrush, but small little bushes, and then willow trees, which is what we have behind us, all these big, huge willow trees that are just under the water. And I want to get into detail about what baits to use, how to flip it, what places in the bushes to target, what the fish do and how they locate to them and things like that. I hope to cover all that in this video. All right, well, let's start off talking about the equipment you use. This is a heavy action 7'11" Omen Black. This is from 13 Fishing, but it's got a Concept A reel, 8-1-to-1. I have an 8-1-to-1 reel so I can get it back to me really fast and make another pitch. Back to me, make another pitch. Back to me, make another pitch. There's hundreds and thousands of places to put a bait in these willow trees, and so the more casts, the more fish. I guess 65 pound braid. This just happens to be a Bullbuster braid. I also use Power Pro, really good braid. I use 65 pound because I'm flipping into trees. I'm getting them out of the brush. You have to be able to turn that fish quick and get him up out of there before he wraps you around something. So you feel the bite and you jack it home. You put your man pants on, you set the hook, and you pull him out of the brush. The hook's a heavy flipping hook. This is an owner grip pin hook, 3/0, because I like to use small baits. We'll get into that in just a second. 3/0 grip pin hook. Sinkers, I like to go with the lightest sinker I can get away with. This is a 3/4 ounce, and I might drop down to about a 1/2 ounce before I tie this up. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and get one out, see if I have one in here. Yep. So I'm going to put a 1/2 ounce on, see if I can get away with that. If I can, I'm going to go back up to the 3/4 ounce. You need some pegs or some bobber stoppers or whatever you want to put on there to peg the weight, and that's all I use for that equipment. Now let's talk about the baits. The flipping baits I like to use I like small compact baits. Okay, so the Vile Craw, notice how it's small and compact. This one, not so small, not so compact. These little legs, tentacles, whatever you want to call them, when you're pitching into trees, these tentacles come up and they get hung around limbs a lot. So you end up shaking a whole lot to get it to fall down into the trees. So this is a decent one. I caught a bunch of fish doing this yesterday on the MTB Slam, but the difficult part of it is all the things hanging off of it that snag to the limbs as you're flipping through the trees. So I like compact baits. Vile Craw's my favorite. It goes anywhere, and when it gets down through the stuff and there's more space, you know, a foot, 2 feet up underneath the tree, it will glide away from you, or it'll spiral down, causing a really cool reaction strike. A lot of times just falling straight down and shaking it up and falling down doesn't get it. If you're dropping it in there, you're picking it up and dropping it back down, the action that you get out of the Vile Craw because of those two little, I guess I'm calling them wings, I don't know what they're called, but those two little wings, they cause it to glide down. Other baits I might use, for an example, you know, the Rage Menace compact. If I'm pitching to really, really tight cover, I throw that. And the Rage Bug. You can even go as much as using a worm, a Senko. Man, it just depends. It just depends on what the fish want. I like some kick to it, because what I'm doing is I'm pitching in as I'm bouncing it up, you know, bringing it up and down and having it rise and fall, and I want some action to it. So I want legs and stuff like that that'll kick and make some noise. So, but the key is keep it small. Keep it small. You don't want things to get caught up as you're pitching in. It wastes your time. So, well, let's talk about rigging it. Basically, it's just like I rig my punch rig, just a lighter bait or a lighter sinker. So 65 pound braid. You got these are Paycheck Baits punch stops, and I've got several different brands. My favorite ones are the ones I use the most, are the Vikes that you get from Tackle Warehouse, because they're like less than $1. These are like $4. So anyway, you take and you've got little loops. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. You've got little bitty loops coming off of those wires, and you stick the line through the loop. Okay, double it over a little bit, and then reach up and grab the peg it, or the punch stop. slide it onto the line. And it's on there. One-time use only. And I take and I slide it way up the line for right now, make it easier to tie. Take my 1/2 ounce sinker. This is tungsten. I've gone all to tungsten recently, just made myself a budget once a month and go and buy tungsten. $20 worth of tungsten every month. I've been doing that for a while now. So we got the tungsten on there. Now, I want to snell this hook. And the way you do it, and the reason you snell the hook is because you'll get better hook sets. And you'll catch more fish. You'll lose a lot fewer fish. So a snell knot, the important part of the snell knot is which direction the line goes through the eye. Turn the hook up, the eye goes down, or the line goes down through the eye like this, okay? I'm gonna turn it over because I'm right-handed. And then you make a loop. Okay, you see that loop? And you pinch it. Still got that loop in there. And then you wrap it around the eye of the hook 4 times without overlapping, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then you find somewhere to take that tag line and run it up through that loop you're holding. It's hard to show it because I'm holding everything still. Then I just hold everything. I've got the tag line in this, it's pinched between these fingers and everything else, and I pull the main line, pulling that loop tight, and then I pull the tag line. Okay, just like that. I make sure nothing's wrapped around my lure keeper and pull it tight. 3 or 4 wraps is about all you need with any braid, and that does not come out. Doesn't come out at all. Take it, snip it off, and then pull your bobber stop or your punch stop all the way down. And I'm going to show you why you run the line through the eye of the hook that way. If you ran it the other way and you set the hook, that hook pops this way and you lose every fish that bites. By putting it through the eye and by snelling this hook, when the fish bites, that hook goes just like this. It turns to the side and you get a lot more bite. Okay, you set the hook, bam, that hook turns up. So that's why you snell it. Always check your line. Another thing I like to do is take a Sharpie and run it up and down the line a few times and color that line black. Just a few feet. And I like to do that. And that just gives you a little bit more camouflage. Plus this is Bull Buster, because they make it for saltwater, I guess it's just a lighter color. Being dark's not important to it. So I color it with a Sharpie. I do that with the Power Pro too when it loses its color. And that's it. We're ready to fish. Oh, no we're not. All right, how to put the bait on. I take my vial craw. Just like a regular Texas rig, you put the hook through at an angle. You don't go straight down, put it at an angle. Pull the hook all the way through. And then rotate to where that bait keeper can hook onto it. Lay the hook along the side, see where it's going to go in, you don't want it to come out, so you want it to go in and up, just like that. You don't want the hook to come out. You're going to be putting enough pressure on that hook set to where that hook will pop right out. No big deal. And that's it. I like the colors I like when it's, we've got kind of stained water right now. Bushes, you know, when the sun's up, they find that the bass find the darkest spots, so I like to use black and blue. Unless it's ultra clear water, and then I'm going to go to a green pumpkin or something like that. So, but black and blue, black, something that they can see pretty easy is the way to go for me. So that's how you do it. Well, let's go see if we can whack them, and I'll talk about the little spots and the things like that, the places you look for in the bushes to get them. All right, so typically early in the morning or in the morning when the sun hasn't gotten up high yet, what I'm doing is I'm flipping every part of the bush. I'm flipping the outside edge, or I'm pitching the outside edge, casting into the middle. I'm just trying to locate what part of the bush the fish are on, or even if they're in the bushes. And as the sun gets higher, the fish will pull into those bushes and pull into the thickest part of it. And you'll catch your biggest fish a lot of times, ooh, right in the middle of it. Hopped it twice and bam. Thank you for the perfect timing, sir. I appreciate it. Look at that fish. And so when you get bit, there's a lot of things you got to pay attention to. First of all, you get the hook out of you. But there's a lot of things you got to pay attention to. How deep were you? I'm in about 1.5 foot of water. What part of the bush was the fish in? Was he in the thick of it? Was he out on the outside where the limbs hang over? How did he bite it? How many times did you hop it? What's the water clarity? I mean, there's a ton of things to just kind of make mental note. And as you catch more and more, you'll be able to put together a halfway decent pattern, and you'll be able to tell, okay, you'll be able to pull up to a bush and say, the fish is right there. Make one cast and get bit. Once you have developed an idea of where the fish are holding, you know, and you may find a bush, there's a bush over here yesterday that I caught 5 fish in. Why did I catch 5 fish? I don't know. I'm guessing that it was the bush closest to the creek channel, and they, you know, love that deep water. They'll stay close to that deep water, and then they'll pull up into the bushes and, you know, back and forth. They tend to like to be closer to the deep water. This bush right here is by itself. That's why I stopped and fished it. It's not like that. You know, there's tons and tons of bushes in there. I could pitch to that for an hour and catch fish in it, and I probably will. But that bush was all by itself, and so I singled it out, went over there, and just started pitching it. And that's why that fish was there, I think, is because it was deeper water, 1.5 feet deep, and 1.5 feet deep. Boy, that was pathetic. 1.5 feet deep. And I was able to get it in there, bounce it up and down a couple of times, and he was able to locate my bait, come to it, and hammer it. So that's how I develop a pattern. Just pay attention to what's going on. Everything, depth to cover, to type of cover. Was it a live bush? Was it a dead bush? That kind of stuff can really, really save you some time when you're covering acres and acres of these trees. So now I'm gonna go right back to that bush and see if there's another one in there. Always start on the outside. I like to pitch to the corners, to parts that stick out further than anything else, because that's an ambush spot. The bass that are feeding, the most active bass will pull out there and sit in those spots to catch whatever's swimming by. So that's why I always hit those first. Then I'll go a little bit deeper, but I make sure that I hit the corners first, or hit the points, as I call them. Of course, I need to learn how to make a good cast. Stop running my mouth. You know, and some people might say, you know, well, Gene, I can't pitch like that. I can't cast like that. I can't hit those pinpoint spots. You know, practice, lots and lots of practice. I've got a very, very good video that explains in detail the mechanics behind a good pitch and a good flip. I mean, so go and watch that video. I'll put the link down in the description. But go watch that video, because it teaches you how to do this. And then get out in your yard, get out in a field, get out somewhere, do it in your living room if you got high ceilings, and practice pitching into a cup. You know, I take little PVC pipes, you'll see it on the video, little 4-inch PVC pipe, and cut them down and use them as little cups. I put them out in my yard, and I still practice all the time. Have little competitions with my kids, you know, stuff like that. It's just a lot of fun, but yeah, practice a lot. You'll get it, I promise. Now, when the sun gets high, it's gonna be hard to explain it in this big tree, but sun gets high, I find that the key spot on any willow bush is the base, where the trunk is. And if you can get a bait all the way back in there, and it may take a few casts, you may have to find the perfect angle, rip out a few limbs, but if you can get all the way back in there to that stump, when the sun gets real high, a lot of times the biggest bass will be sitting right next to the stump. There we go, finally got in there. And you ask why I use 65-pound braid? That's why, because I'm pitching. Look at this. I'm pitching into this thick stuff all the way in the back. You know, and I believe in the philosophy of get your bait in there, get in there, catch the fish, and then worry about how you're going to get him out. If you're scared to get in there because you can't get the fish out, you need to put your man pants on, because you can get a 5-10 pounder out of there with 65-pound braid. Suck it up, Buttercup. Another thing I do is I turn my electronics off. Why do you need them? You know, once you've established that you're in deep enough water or shallow enough water, turn them off. Get all the sound off the boat. Be as quiet as you can. This is close, you know, close combat, close in fishing, and so you want to be as quiet and stealthy as you possibly can. All right, so what I do once I pitch it in there and I get it down into the water, I like to bounce it up and down off the bottom a few times, all the way from the bottom to the top. One thing it lets me know is what the depth is. It also causes enough commotion, especially if I'm hitting that stick with the sinker, causes enough commotion. If there's a bass in that area and he can get to it, he'll come and check it out. You know, I pitched into a spot yesterday and it was really thick, and I bounced it and bounced it and bounced it, and I brought it up, and as I brought it out of the water, the bass came out of the water to grab it. And the reason is I had it in such thick stuff that bass couldn't get in there and get it. But as soon as he could, as soon as I got it out of the thick stuff that was on the bottom and got it up, he came out of the water and grabbed the bait. All right, one question somebody might have is, why do you peg your weight? You know, why do I use that punch stop or that peg to keep the sinker from sliding up the line? Well, on a cast, if you hit the bushes or hit the limbs going into the bush, a lot of times that sinker will separate. I mean, when that sinker separates from your bait, if it's loose, it will wrap around a stick and not go into the bush, and you won't be able to shake it free or shake it down into the middle of the bush. So that's why you peg it. If you can get away with not pegging it, it's better. You get more positive hook sets. But in my opinion, when you're pitching into this kind of thick stuff, you really, you know, you got to have it pegged. Whew. Ow. I live by the old saying, don't worry about getting the fish out till you have them hooked. Get your bait in there, set the hook, then dive in after him or yank him out. Not bad, not bad. Sweetness. A couple other things to add is make sure that your hook stays buried in your soft plastic. Make sure that your bobber stopper or your peg stays down on your hook and your hook stays up against the bait. And make sure you set the hook hard. Well, I thought I was going to be able to end this video with a fish, but it's not going to happen. I've got to get home. I got to go to bed, take a nap before I go into work tonight. But hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you learned that you can get into the thick cover and really get some big fish out and get some nice fish out. I've caught probably 4, maybe 5 over 5 pounds this week doing that. And I caught a couple of nice ones on my MTB Slam yesterday. So I thought I was going to be able to get a big one today, but my next spot's 15-20 miles away and I don't have enough gas and time to get up there. So It is what it is. Be sure to check out my sponsors. All the links are down at the bottom. This video is brought to you by Biospawn Lures. They're my major sponsor. They're one of my major sponsors, and they're making it possible for me to continue to do this and continue to teach somebody, teach people how to fish. But like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Take them fishing, show them this wonderful sport that we enjoy, and then show them my videos. Let me help you teach them how to fish. That's what I'm here for. That's what I want to do. So more important to get out of the water, go out and catch some fish, and have a great day.